Hi, my name is Katie Beckham. I'm a student at Weber International University, and I'll be speaking on data backup. Data backup is of vital importance to many organizations' network security. What is a data backup? Backup refers to the copying of physical or virtual files or databases to a secondary site for preservation in case of equipment failure or other factors that result in data loss. The process of backing up data is pivotal to a successful disaster recovery plan. Backup and recovery testing examines an organization's practices and technologies for data security and data replication. The goal is to ensure rapid and reliable data retrieval should the need arise. The process of retrieving backed up data files is known as file restoration. The term data backup and data protection are often used interchangeably. Although data protection encompasses the broader goals of business continuity, data security, information lifecycle management, and the prevention of malware and computer viruses. Enterprises back up data they deem to be vulnerable in the event of a buggy software, data corruption, hardware failure, malicious hacking, user error, or other unforeseen events. Backups capture and synchronize at a point-in-time snapshot that is then used to return data to its previous state. Why are backups needed? 1. Machines and hardware fail. While we've made huge strides in the reliance of our technology, it is still not perfect. It is bound to have issues here and there. While it can be expensive for your company to eliminate any single point of failure in your IT infrastructure, it is really the only way you can be sure that hardware failure will not interrupt your service or cause data loss. The best option is to back up your data regularly, ideally with a leading and highly secured hosting provider. This will help to eliminate any interruptions in case of IT infrastructure failures. 2. Humans make mistakes. While this is among some of the hardest mistakes to prevent and correct, ensuring your data is regularly backed up lets you restore it to an error-free state. As much as we wish we were, people are not perfect and can easily overlook an important step in a process or accidentally delete data or enter the wrong data. Making sure you have an efficient process in place and a good quality assurance programs are your best bet, but having an online backup solution can be as equally important. 3. Nature is unpredictable. We've all been witness to what can happen when the wrath of Mother Nature hits, which can be pretty unpredictable. Businesses that don't have a backup and a disaster recovery plan in place can find it almost impossible to resume operations after a major disaster hits. In fact, an estimated 80% of all companies that experience a business interruption of greater than 5 days without a backup plan go out of business. 4. Customers want access 24/7, 365 days a year. The average consumer now expects information they want to access to be available whenever it is convenient for them. This means that if your organization is facing infrastructure issues and cannot get up and running in a timely fashion, these anxious customers could jump ship to a competitor. Every business out there is susceptible to an IT disaster, and the only way to ensure that your business mitigates its interruptions is to have a fast recovery due to a well-crafted backup and disaster recovery plan. Too many businesses are ill-prepared for an IT disaster when it strikes. How do backups work? A backup process is applied to critical databases or related line of business applications. The process is governed by predefined backup policies that specify how frequently the data is backed up and how many duplicate copies, known as replicas, are required, as well as service level agreements that stipulate how quickly data must be restored. Best practices suggest a full data backup should be scheduled to occur at least once a week, often during weekends or off business hours. To supplement weekly full backups, enterprises typically schedule a series of differential or incremental data backup jobs that back up only data that has changed since the last full backup took place. Financial and academic records are the typical files that Weber International University backs up. Weber International University uses a combination of a RAID 5 SAN file server system and daily backups to an off-campus site to protect the financial and academic records from physical damage. Enterprises typically back up key data to dedicated backup alliances or magnetic tape systems. Data duplication systems contain hard disk drives and are equipped with software for setting backup policies. Disk-to-disk backup systems initially appeared as an alternative magnetic backup. Both disk and tape are still used today and often in conjunction. Online internet backup services. Backblaze is the cheapest online backup solution and the easiest to use. You can literally just set it and forget it. Backblaze offers the generous Restore My Mail feature and its rapid upload speeds. But Backblaze is not ideal for anyone with multiple machines to back up unless you have nearly unlimited storage needs. Acronis True Image is a disk imaging program with cloud backup component tacked on. It's perhaps the most powerful and versatile online backup solution available, with mobile device and social media backups, syncing and sharing options, and even ransomware protection. For the 2019 edition, it even indicates a survival kit, which quickly creates a bootable file restoration tool. The downsides are that Acronis is expensive, has a confusing pricing structure, and doesn't back up external or network drives. Carbonite offers unlimited storage, but it doesn't automatically back up large files, external drives, or any kind of video file on its lowest pricing tier. To get those functions, you'll have to upgrade. Multiple machines are supported on a single account, but each costs as much as the first. On the plus side, the software is attractive and easy to use. iDrive offers the most bang for the buck, backing up an unlimited number of machines to either a 2 terabyte or a 5 terabyte limit, which should be enough for most people. iDrive's upload speeds are fast. Its mobile apps actually back up the devices they run on. It provides a generous file syncing option, and it even lets you mail in a full drive instead of spending days uploading data. iDrive also keeps old copies of each file forever, which can come in handy. Backup and recovery procedures. Database administrators should evaluate the preparedness to respond effectively to such situations by answering the following questions. How confident is the database administrator that the data on which the company business depends on are backed up successfully, and that the data can be recovered from these backups within the permissible time limits per a service level agreement or recovery time objective, as specified in the Disasters Organization Recovery Plan? Has the database administrator taken measures to draft and test procedures to protect as well as recover the databases from numerous types of failures? The following is a checklist for the database backup and recovery procedures that are explained below. Develop a comprehensive backup plan. Perform effective backup management. Perform periodic database restore testing. Have backup and recovery SLAs drafted and communicated to all stakeholders. Have the disaster recovery plan database portion drafted and documented. Keep your knowledge and know-how on databases and OS backup and recovery tools up to date. What data should be backed up? It is important to have a clear understanding of the data that needs to be backed up. It is also imperative that the database administrator is aware of the database and related OS and application components that need to be backed up, whether via an online backup or an offline cold backup. The following are details of what needs to be backed up. OS software. An event such as hardware failure will require a complete system restore, starting with the OS. So there is a need to back up the database server, OS initially, and after any system updates or configuration changes. RDBMS software. The RDBMS software should be backed up initially and after any patches or upgrades. Application software. The application database administrator should complete an initial full backup of the applications to disk using an appropriate OS command and then schedule future incremental backups. After any patches or upgrades, these backups should also be transferred to tape. Passwords. All super user passwords that may be required during recovery should be preserved. It is a good idea to ensure the default passwords that came with the initial installation of the RDBMS are changed. Database parameter file. A parameter file or server parameter file defines persistent installation parameters of a database, including the information about database control files. Database control files. The control file stores the status of physical structure of the database. If it becomes unavailable, the database cannot operate. It is imperative that these files be backed up while backing up other components of the database. Database data files. These should be backed up during cold backup as well as during an online backup. Network files. It is important to back up all network files initially and after any change. Password files. Password files, when used, should be backed up initially and after any change as well. Redo log files. While making a cold backup, the database administrator needs to back up redo logs. When a database is running in archive log mode and doing online backup, the database administrator needs to archive redo logs manually or automatically and then back up all archive redo logs. All businesses should have a data backup plan. Let's face it, at some point your data will be at risk. It could be a machine, human error, a virus, or even a natural disaster like Hurricane Katrina. Not having the proper precautions in place could mean losing it all. Think of your disaster recovery plan as an insurance policy for your data and business should something out of your control happen.